Hi everyone, and welcome back. I hope that the sound is audible now. So there was some issue that came. So guys, I welcome you again to the Hindu newspaper analysis discussion, and I would like to tell you that you can download the explainer notes of this entire session, which are available at our Telegram channel, and link for Telegram channel is given in the description box. And before moving on, guys, I would like to show you overview of this entire newspaper so that you can understand that which articles are actually important in the today's newspaper. Now, the first article, Bharat Jodo Yatra, has given an alternative vision of politics. Now, guys, if you have political interest, you can read the article, but for examination, article is not much important. Here we see this thing that the Odisha's minister has been. Just a minute. So, yes, the second article, Odisha minister shot dead by former security officer. Not important article with respect to the examination, though unfortunate and a very sad incident. Then Hindenburg report driven by an ulterior motive, says Adani Group. So on the Saturday's newspaper analysis discussion, we have seen what this Hinden report has actually provided. But I have explained you this thing also, that you don't need to go and follow this report every day for the examination. Why? Because of two things. Number one, the report has made certain allegations on Adani Group that they have carried accounting manipulation, they have manipulated their stock markets, even basically the allegations have been made that they have laundered money and all such kind of things. So these allegations will now be studied, they will be seen, verified by the SEBI, Reserve Bank of India, and even the SEBI has started auditing the Adani's accounts and all such Adani's corporate dealings. Fine. So you don't need to go too much in this particular direction. Then here there is below, there is one important article. Study enrollment in higher studies rose by 7.5%. So ISHE data has been released. So we'll see that what is this ISHE survey all about and what are important findings that have been given. Then going on in city section, center must intervene to ensuring neighboring states give more water to Delhi. Fine. For examination, no need to go too much in the article, guys. So as we are having the Delhi edition, so here we this is the regional section which contains the regional news, okay, advertisements, etc. Okay, no need to go too much here in this particular direction. Okay, so guys, moving on again, the regional political articles, etc. Fine, has been given. Nothing is important here in these pages. So directly we reach to the editorial page. And on editorial, the first article that we read is MGNREGA Reforms prioritize the worker and her dues. We'll see this particular article with respect to the examination. Then further moving on, guys, the next article, revisit the tax treatment of tobacco products. We'll see this particular article also with respect to the examination, GS paper number 2, health. Okay, then guys, a side article, again this particular article is talking about the Hindenburg report which has been made on Adani Group. If you guys want to read more about it, you can go and you can also refer to the Saturday's newspaper analysis, but I will not suggest you to go too much in detail in this particular article for examination. Then the Indian University is in a free fall. So we'll see this particular article as what it is talking about with respect to the higher education in India. A challenging year for Nitish Kumar. We'll see this particular article also, guys, with respect to the examination. Sorry, this article doesn't contain much important information with respect to the examination. Then shortfall of specialist doctor in rural areas was 80% in 2022. So we'll briefly see the data as what they are talking about with respect to health. Then further moving on, guys, text and the context. India's call to modify the Indus Water Treaty. Okay, so actually what has happened recently, India has said this thing that we want to renegotiate Indus Water Treaty. Basically, first of all, when we talk about Indus Water Treaty, it talks about the river water sharing between India and Pakistan. Now, this particular treaty, as we talk about it, it is one of the most successful treaty, transnational river water sharing treaty. But the point is that whenever there are disputes over the river water usage between India and Pakistan, what Pakistan does, Pakistan directly approaches the Permanent Court of Arbitration, Hague. Now, India says that before going there, first of all, the Permanent Indus Commission, where representatives of both India and Pakistan are there, they should be discussed. Then there is a mechanism for approaching a neutral expert constituted by World Bank. There you should go. And thirdly, if the solution doesn't comes at these two levels, then the Pakistan should approach the Permanent Court of Arbitration. But directly Pakistan approaches the court of arbitration. So India wants to renegotiate this treaty, where India wants that first you should be exploring these alternative methods that are there. Okay, now this particular article is talking about the Indus Water Treaty and the India's call to modify it. But guys, rather than going in this particular article, on the Saturday, on last Saturday, what we have done, I have discussed the entire Indus Water Treaty. Okay, how whether India can withdraw even from this particular treaty, and along with the graphs and infographics, I have discussed this entire article in much more detail. Okay, so I will suggest you that please do go and read the Saturday's discussion that we have done. It is the first article that we discussed there. Then further moving on in this particular direction, guys. After that, command postings for women officers in the army. We'll see this particular article with respect to examination. Then pulse check. So the article is talking about the dementia. We'll see this particular article also for examination. Then further moving on, lessons from Ukraine war, UAV missiles are likely future threats. We'll see what the article is talking about. Then Sub Categorization Committee for OBCs get 14th extension. We'll see this particular article for the examination. Spread the word on schemes for middle class PM to ministers. So guys, here we see this particular thing, that at a meeting of Union Council of Ministers, the Prime Minister had said this particular thing, that there are many schemes for the middle classes that have been announced by the government in many areas, be it health, be it employment generation, be it skill development, but awareness is not there. So ministers should take effort to made them aware about these schemes. Then further moving on, India has done well in terms of aggregate growth over the last week. Okay, over the last 1 year. Then further moving on, we have largely the political articles. No need to go too much in these political articles. Then official C organized attempt to foment trouble in Jammu region. Now for examination, relevant substance is not there in this article. Then here RT portal bars new account users to fill data for every form. So we'll see briefly, just as an example with respect to the information sharing, that how ease of data accessibility is very important, which might get defeated by this particular development. We'll see this. Man ki baat, Prime Minister calls for relentless effort to strengthen the Republic. Then further guys, moving on, after that coming to the world page. Now on world page, we don't have much of exam specific substance which has some implications on India's foreign policy or India's interest. Just the evolutionary, okay, and law and order related issues have been provided. Israel takes steps to punish the families of terrorists. Sunak sacks Conservative Party chairman over tax affairs. Fine. Then further moving on guys, and today as it is Monday, so on Monday in Hindu, business page doesn't comes. We have this money wise page which majorly talks about the investment related advices, mutual funds, stocks, etc. Fine. So for UPSC, much substance is not there in this particular article. Then we have this sports page. So this is guys all about the today's newspaper and overview. And now let's discuss all these relevant articles one by one in detail. Now, so guys, today is 30th of January, and 30th of January 2023 is 75th death anniversary of the father of the nation, Gandhiji, Mahatma Gandhi. When we talk about guys Gandhiji, Gandhian thought happens to be even more relevant in today's troubled times. When we talk about Gandhiji, Gandhiji has been a thinker par excellence that India had seen. When we talk about Gandhiji guys, so as today we are mourning the death anniversary of Gandhiji, we need to see this thing, that the killing of Gandhiji would have been carried under the thought that physical elimination of Gandhiji will also remove Gandhian thought, Gandhian ideology. But it was wrong. Gandhian thought, Gandhian ideology that has entrenched the minds, the spiritual minds, it is guiding the public policy, it is leading the youth towards the moral path. So today we should remember Gandhiji, and we should ponder that what we can adopt from the Gandhian ideology, as it is much needed in the today's time. So taking the quote from Gandhiji. So Gandhiji says, live as you were to die tomorrow. Live as you were to die tomorrow, and learn as if you were to live forever. Okay, so we should live with optimism. We should embrace all the experiences that lives throw us. because this life, the physical life, it always has a limited time. So we need to live as we were to die tomorrow. Embrace all experiences that life can throw at you, learn whatever life can teach you, and learn as you were to live forever. Okay, so this particular quotation can be used in GS paper number 4 as well as in essay paper. Okay, now moving on and taking the first article. So first article, first of all, let's read heading of the article, and then we'll see what is utility of this article, and then we'll understand this particular article. Okay, Sub Categorization Committee for OBC. Sub Categorization Committee for OBC gets a 14th extension. Now this particular article we'll see with respect to GS paper number 2. GS paper number 2, affirmative action policies, or social justice, or reservation policy and related issues. Okay, now before going in this particular article, guys, I would go little bit in background and will explain you background first, because article, it's not more than these 3 lines that have been given as a heading. But before that, we need to understand that what this entire topic is all about. So first of all, guys, see this thing that just a minute. So basically, when we talk about democracy, when we talk about any democratic setup, so democratic setup focuses on giving equal opportunities to all the people. It focuses on giving equal opportunities to people. Now, many number of times, because there are certain social barriers, people are not able to avail equal opportunities. These social barriers could be in the form of caste, could be in the form of religion, could be in the form of some ethnicity, etc. So therefore, what happens? The state tries to give them some special head start. The state tries to give them some special support, some special head start, and that special support is called as affirmative action policies. So affirmative action, that is giving some special head start to the people who are deprived. And within affirmative action, we have one particular tool, that is reservation. Today when we talk about reservation, in India, on social grounds, we actually give reservation to scheduled caste, scheduled tribe, we give reservation to OBCs. Now first of all, you need to understand that, guys, when we talk about scheduled caste, they are being given reservation to make up the historical injustices that happened with these people, particularly untouchability. Scheduled tribe people, they are being given reservation. Now, scheduled tribe, there are no historical injustices that have happened, but these people have always stayed isolated from mainstream society, and because always they stayed isolated from mainstream society, they don't know much about the modern law. Many number of times they are prone to much vulnerabilities. Okay, so to protect them, and they are much backward, so to protect them and to give them equal level playing field, scheduled tribe are given reservation. And then we have the OBCs. Now, who are OBCs? First of all, they are not isolated with mainstream society like tribals, and OBCs, they have also not experienced the injustices of untouchability that scheduled caste have faced. OBCs are those people who did not got developmental benefit, neither they got benefit during British government, nor they got benefit after independence. So we give reservation. Scheduled caste are given 7.5% reservation. Scheduled tribe, they are given 15% reservation, and OBC are given 27% reservation. In total, just a minute, in total, it constitutes to 49.5% reservation. Okay. Now, guys, though reservation of 10% has also been added for economically weaker sections, EWS. Okay, so I am not talking about that, but yes, a 10% reservation for EWS is also given. Okay, now when we talk about OBCs, other backward classes, they are given 27% reservation. Now, over the years, there is one issue that has come in between. It provides that, guys, when we talk about OBCs, there are more than 5,000 castes that are there in OBCs, even more than that. Now, point is that there are some of the caste in OBCs which have got the maximum benefit of OBC reservation. Now, understand that there are some 10-15 caste which have taken the maximum benefit of this OBC reservation. So point is that other castes are not getting much of benefit. For example, suppose in a vacancy, government announces this thing that we are bringing, let's say 1000 vacancies, and out of that, let's say 270 vacancies are reserved for OBCs. Now point is that out of these vacancies, maximum benefit is being taken by 510 caste only. Okay, so this is one problem. Now, in order to solve this particular problem, government had come out with the idea of sub-categorization, within OBCs. What do we mean by sub-categorization? Guys, different caste, okay, different caste, we will define that how much quota within the OBC they will get. For example, 27% total reservation is to be given. Let's say we have caste A, caste B, caste C. We say that out of this 27%, 1% will be taken by caste A. Let's say 0.5% reservation will be for caste B. Okay, let's say 0.75% reservation will be for the caste C. So out of this 27%, what proportion will be reserved for the different caste, that has to be defined. And this is the idea of sub-categorization. Why this sub-categorization has been proposed? It has been proposed so that all caste according to their population gets equivalent benefit under OBC reservation. Some castes are getting almost all the reservation benefit. It should not happen. To bring more fairness, to ensure justice, this sub-categorization has been proposed. Okay. Now, as we talk about sub-categorization, so basically, just a minute. Yes. So what is OBC subcategorization? It refers to the process of dividing the OBCs in India into subgroups based on their socio-economic and educational status. Objective is to ensure that benefits of affirmative action, that is benefit of reservation, such as reservation in education, government jobs, reach to the most disadvantaged groups within the OBCs. Now, most disadvantaged groups, they many number of times they don't have awareness, even they don't have basic education to further use the OBC quota. So they are untouched. Okay, so therefore OBC subcategorization has been proposed. Now, who will be doing the subcategorization within OBC? It can be done by central government, and recommendation will be made by whom? Recommendation will be made by National Commission for Backward Classes that we have. National Commission for Backward Classes. Okay, this is something. Now, to study this matter of subcategorization more in detail and to recommend that which caste should be given what percentage of reservation within the OBC, what government has done in 2017, government constituted Justice Rohini Commission. Justice Rohini Commission was constituted in 2017, and initially it was given some time to submit its report. Okay, initially it was given some time to submit its report. Okay, so 12 weeks time was given in 2017, but since then again and again this commission has been given extensions, and now what has happened? 14th extension. Now 14th extension has been given to the Justice Rohini Commission, which has to give its report with respect to OBC subcategorization. So this is something that they have come. Now here the commission members are saying this thing that we have almost finished our work and we will give the report even before that. Okay, so now if you see the basically the issue is only of 3 lines, but to understand that we need to know this background, that what is subcategorization, why subcategorization is needed, who can go for subcategorization, and about this Justice Rohini Commission as well. Okay, now here basically guys, the notes that I have provided here, fine, they are not obviously in this particular article, so please download this PDF. Okay, now how subcategorization will bring certain benefits, that also I have provided here. Number 1, inequitable distribution of benefits which are going to some few caste, it can be tackled. Real objective of reservation is not getting fulfilled, because why? Only then few are getting benefit. Then it will address the socio-economic disparities. Many number of times within the OBC, the most backward are not getting benefit. So with the subcategorization, they will be assured that they will get their fair share. Then it will improve the efficiency of affirmative action, efficiency of reservation. Okay, this is something that will happen. And then thirdly, it will help in better data collection, better analysis Okay, so when we will keep the different reservation for different groups, and when they will get that reservation, then we further can study that how it's impacting them. Okay, so it helps to collect and analyze data on socio-economic educational status of different OBC communities, will help in providing much valuable information. So that is, guys, about this particular article. Okay, so that's about it. I hope that you have understood it. And guys, again, I'm telling you that this background is very important. Now, moving to next article. Command postings for women officers in the army. Command postings for women officers in the army. If you are following analysis regularly, we have seen this article few days back also. Why? Because now government, fine, Ministry of Defense had provided this particular thing, that the women are being offered the position of a colonel in the army. Let's discuss this issue little bit more. Where we are going to see this particular article? GS paper number 1, GS paper number 2, social issues and social justice. Social issues and social justice. Within it, the issues related to women. Issues related to women, we'll see this particular issue. Now, let's discuss about this particular article. But again, guys, before going in this article, we will discuss the background first, and after background, we'll see that what the article is talking about. Okay. So basically, guys, when we talk about women, when we talk about the women, okay. So first of all, understand this thing. There are two ideas. There is idea of sex, and then there is idea of gender. There is idea of sex, and then there is idea of gender. When we talk about sex, sex pertains to biological differentiation. Sex pertains to biological differentiation on whose basis we divide society. We divide society as male and female. Male and female. Male have certain biological attributes, female have certain biological attributes. Because of that, male will have their own, male have certain own attributes. For example, just a minute. Because of that particular thing, male will have different natural role, female will have different natural role. How? For example, female can conceive a child, male cannot conceive a child. Okay, that is other concept. That is one concept. And then next is we have gender. Now, when we talk about gender, what is gender? Gender is a sociological differentiation. Gender is a sociological differentiation between the society where we have one section that is men and other section that is women. Now, men and women, they are attributed with different type of personality traits. Men will be expected to have different personality, women will be expected to have different personality. For example, men will have a masculine personality, women will have feminine personality. Because of this different personality attributes, we will impose certain social role on male and some different social role on women. Okay, now when we talk about social roles, we have seen this particular thing, that these social role of men and women, they are not based on some rationality, they are not based on logic, rather they are based on assuming that women are often inferior than men. That basic underlying idea has been there, and because of that particular thing, women have not been given role in leadership positions. We have seen this thing, women have not been given commanding roles, etc. That has been there, and because of that particular thing, often the women discrimination also opens up. Unequal opportunities for women also come. Why? Because socially we think that male can do something better, women will do other things better. Majorly women have been restricted to the domestic arena and all such kind of things that have been there. Now guys, because of this particular factor, we find that women discrimination opens up in many field. Women discrimination opens up in many field. Now, in this particular direction, in this particular dimension, guys, there is one issue that has come. Now, understand this particular thing. Women and their role, women and their role in armed forces. Women and their role in armed forces. Now, understand this thing. As we talk about women's role in armed forces, traditionally we have seen this particular thing, that women, they have not given combat role. Women have not given combat role. Fine, they cannot go at front and they can fight. Second thing, we have seen this particular thing, that women have also not given commanding positions. Women have also not given the commanding positions. Commanding position is one position where an army official will lead a contingent of some number of soldiers. Now there are some, now these particular things have been justified also. For example, it has been said that women are not being given combat role. It's not because women are being discriminated, rather physically it has been provided that the male physically they have more strength than women. So on biological factor we are sending men in combat role, one thing. Second thing is that when women will be in combat, women's safety will be a very big concern. So therefore they are not being sent. So it has been said that there is nothing to do with the discrimination on such kind of a thing. Then the second, women's position in command roles. Now it has been provided that when we talk about the Jawans and the soldiers who are who the Jawans are there in the army, basically when we see Indian society has been conventionally patriarchal, and therefore many of the men in the troops in the army, they might not accept the command of women. Okay, so because of that particular thing, the decorum, because of that particular thing, the discipline might get impacted. The society is still not ready to take command. That is one particular kind of an issue. So therefore they have not been given some kind of a positions. Now it has been justified that it has based on some reasonable merits, but again and again a question opens up and it says that no, it's not based on any kind of a reasonable argument, rather it symbolizes women's discrimination. Now this controversy has went for years. I will not comment it that what is the really case. You are there to judge on that particular matter. And this particular issue have also reached the Supreme Court. Okay, now Supreme Court has come out with the instrumental judgment, that is the Babita Punia judgment. We'll discuss that Babita Punia judgment also in just 1 minute. Now further moving on, guys. So first of all, I would like to briefly tell you about the history of women's role in Indian Army. Okay, so I will tell you about that and then we'll go in the article that has been given. So first of all, guys, when we talk about women's induction in army, it started in 1992 and there was a special scheme, that is women's special entry scheme, that got started in 1992. And as per this scheme, women were given entry in Indian Army for a limited period of 5 years. So for 5 years they can serve in army, and they were given the position in Army Education Corps, Corps of Signals, Intelligence Corps, Corps of Engineers, etc. Okay, so for 5 years they can join under which scheme? Women Special Entry Scheme. Women Special Entry Scheme. Okay. Now what happened after 1992? Next change that came, it came in 2006. So in 2006, Women Special Entry Scheme, it was replaced with Short Service Commission. Short Service Commission. What is a Short Service Commission? In Short Service Commission, women can opt to serve in Indian Army for period of 10 years. For period of 10 years. And after 10 years, they can take an additional extension of 4 years. They can take an additional extension of 4 years. So in total, they can serve for 14 years. They can serve for 14 years. Now, guys, when we talk about the Short Service Commission, there is a possibility. Now, when we talk about Short Service Commission was available to male also, was available to female also. But after Short Service Commission, there comes the Permanent Commission. Permanent Commission means Permanent Commission means that they can take career in army till retirement. Now, male were allowed that after Short Service Commission, they can join the Permanent Commission, that they can serve till retirement. Now, understand this thing, that you have to serve for a particular period if you want to get pension. So male can transition from Short Service Commission to Permanent Commission, but female were not given the Permanent Commission. They were not given Permanent Commission. So maximum they can serve for 14 years. Okay. And secondly, command positions were also not given to them, where they can lead the contingent in the army. Now this particular matter reached the Supreme Court. It was said this particular thing, that A, they will not be given Permanent Commission, and B, they will not be given the commanding position. It is not based on any reasonable criteria. It is a kind of a discrimination that is going on. So I have provided you that females were not given it. Now, Supreme Court gave a judgment in Babita Punia versus Babita Punia case in 2020. And in Babita Punia case, Supreme Court provided two things are to be implemented. Number one, women are to be given permanent commission as male are being given. And second thing it was provided that commanding positions should also be given to women, which were not given to women. Okay. So now implementation of this Babita Punia judgment is going on, and because of that particular thing, the women and their role in armed forces come in news from time to time. Now, first of all, already permanent commission has been declared for women. Now, the second issue comes giving them commanding positions. So, therefore, what has happened now, the army has started the process of selecting women officers for command assignments. They will be promoted to the rank of colonel. Now, when we talk about the rank of colonel is a particular designation at which a person or an official can command the contingent of army personnels. So, the position of colonel, fine, will be opened up for the women here. Now, understand one thing I want to tell you very clearly. It's not that earlier women colonels were not there. Earlier they were also there, but earlier they were on those positions which were largely operation based, which were largely procedure based. Okay, I'll give you example. For example, guys, when we talk about when we talk about when we talk about uh, women have been given the position of colonel in education corps, for example, in judge advocate general, fine, they have been given the rank of colonel. But when we talk about these positions, they are largely administrative appointments and they don't entail regular arms services. Okay, so commanding is still not there. Now the positions where commanding is possible, there they are being promoted to the rank of colonel, and it has been seen now in this particular direction, guys. We see this particular thing that what government has done, that it has been provided that, just a minute. So there are 108 such vacancies, and these 108 vacancies are being offered to 244 women officers. So this is a reform that has come in this particular direction. Fine. So this is, guys, all about this particular position, this particular thing. Now, what is way forward? So basically, as we talk about these type of developments, these are positive developments which are recognizing the women's competency, and this is needed to make society a truly gender neutral society. So this is an instrumental and important thing that have happened. Moreover, guys, here I have also given you some other steps that have been taken in past few years where women are being brought on par with male in defense forces. So let's see what else have been done. For example, we see this thing, a minute. For example, we see this particular thing that women already they are serving as medical doctors, dentists in Indian armed forces. Okay, only women are serving as nurses in military nursing services. So this is the position that has been given to women. Secondly, now women are also being inducted as Jawan in Corps of Military Police since 2019. Okay, so they are also being inducted as Jawan in military police. Then thirdly, we have also seen this thing that just a few that recently National Defense Academy, it also started to induct women candidates, and it has started from 2022 only. So just a few months back, women induction in NDA also started. And then fourthly, we see this thing that Navy has also opened 12 branches for women officers, and now women will also be inducted as Agniveer under Agnipath scheme. Okay, so as an Agniveer also women will be chosen. So this is something that has been that has been about this particular article. So guys, in the women, in the when we talk about the role of women, this role is a particularly important one, fine, in Indian society in general, and now time has come that they should also be recognized beyond domestic arenas. Okay, and therefore giving commanding position to women in army is a good way forward. It is a good reform that has been taken up. So that is all, guys, about this particular article. Okay, so one thing is that when we talk about, guys, these synoptic notes that I gave you on the side, these synoptic notes just not only contains the substance of this article, but it contains many of other value additions also. So please, I insist that download the synoptic notes and read it very carefully for your examinations. Okay, now moving to next article, student enrollment. A minute. Student enrollment in higher education rose by 7.5% in 2020-21 iShare data. So let's see this particular article as what this article is talking about. Okay. Now, first of all, guys, before going on this particular article, I would first of all like to tell you little bit of a background information. Okay, little bit of the background information that you need to know first. So basically, what we understand by this AISHE, AISHE means All India Survey on Higher Education. Okay, but one thing more I want to tell you, where this data, this particular article will be important. It will be important in GS paper number 2, issues related to education. Okay, issues related to education. Now, first of all, I just want to clear one thing for the sake of your understanding, so that you don't get confused. If you are following our newspaper regularly, or even you are reading newspaper, few days back there was annual status of education report that was released, and now there is this AISHE survey that has come. Now both are about education. What is difference between these two? First of all, when we talk about annual status of education report, it tracks the school level education. Tracks school level education. When we talk about the AISHE, AISHE tracks higher education. AISHE tracks higher education. Secondly, when we talk about ASAR, ASAR is conducted by an NGO by the name of Pratham. This report is prepared by Pratham NGO. Okay, that is a non-governmental organization. But when we talk about the AISHE, this survey is conducted, the survey is collected by Ministry of Education. Okay. Moreover, when we talk about the ASAR report, it majorly tracks rural education. But when we talk about AISHE, there is no such thing that only rural or any urban. It collects for both rural, urban, both. Okay. So this is all about it. Fine. So first of all, I believe that this difference is clear. Many times aspirants, they get confused. So no point to get confused here. Okay. So when we talk about this AISHE, okay, All India Survey on Higher Education, it is conducted by Ministry of Education. Okay. And here data will be collected on certain parameters. What are these parameters? Number one, enrollment. How many number of students are enrolled in higher educational institution, college, university, PhD students? Moreover, not only the number of students, but what is the social composition of those students? For example, students from OBC category, student from SC category, ST category, minorities, disabled students, male, female. So composition, social composition is also seen. Then second is faculty, number of teaching faculty, okay, number of faculty per student ratio, all these things are seen. Infrastructure, in infrastructure they will see that what is physical infrastructure, for example, labs, sports facilities, whether they are there or not. Then also it looks in finances. What is the source of financing for the higher education? For example, whether they are generating their own funds through the fees, etc., or they are taking some grant from UGC, or they are funded by some philanthropic organization. Okay, so funding, finance. Then programs, number and type of academic programs that is being offered by that particular institution. And then affiliation, that is the status of affiliation, from which university the institute is affiliated. Okay, accreditation. Okay, all these particular things, data are collected under the AISHE survey by Ministry of Education, and this particular data is important to make broader policy for education sector. When we talk about 3 years back, we came with the National Education Policy 2020. National Education Policy specifically had provided this thing, that the gross enrollment ratio in higher education need to be increased to at least 50%. Secondly, it also provided that higher education should be transformative in nature. Higher education should be transformative in nature. So therefore, to guide the policy action, we need some such reports and data. Now, what has happened? So now the government has released AISHE data of 2020, 2021. 2020, 2021. This report has been released. Okay. Now, one thing, guys, I want to tell you here very clearly, understand this thing, that this is a very bulky report, and it has given a lot of data. For example, enrollment of students in undergraduation, in post graduation, within undergraduation, different streams. For example, arts, commerce, sciences, within sciences what subjects, all these kind of things are there. Point is that you don't need to remember all the facts and the data of this particular report, because for UPSC examination they are not important. Such data are not asked, number one. Number two, usage of that data will also not be much. Thirdly, even if you read it, you will not be able to remember it by the time your exam will come. So neither it's needed nor it's important. Okay. So therefore, only important data that we have, we are going to take it. Only important data we are going to take it. So number one, we see this particular thing. We see this particular thing that the enrollment of students have increased. Okay, so 7.5% increase in student enrollment has happened across the country compared to last survey. So last survey 2019-2020, there is a 7.5% increase in enrollment that has happened, and this is a positive development. But at the same time, we see this particular thing that the disadvantaged sections, they actually did not got benefited. For example, Muslim students, they dropped to 4, the Muslim students proportion in higher education, it dropped to just 4.6% from earlier 5.5% that was there. So this particular drop is not positive. Moreover, other minority students, their proportion also dropped. So earlier their proportion was around 2.3% and now it dropped to 2%. So religious minorities, Muslims, their proportion has went down. Then thirdly, we see this particular thing. That the persons with the disabilities, their proportion in higher education has also come down. Okay, so approximately these many students were there, 92,800 or approximately 93,000. Their number have come down to 79,000. Now you are not required to remember the absolute data, but point is that the disadvantaged sections proportion is going down, which is alarming, which should alarm some ring bells. Then the next thing that we see there is that at the PhD level, the most popular course at the PhD level is in the field of engineering, technology, sciences. These disciplines are more preferred, but at the same time, women enrollment in PhD courses, it is less than the male, and this is which has happened almost all the times. Okay, so we see this particular thing that women enrollment is less. Just 33.3% women are in PhD in engineering disciplines. Okay, just 48.8% for the sciences. So this is something that we have seen. Moreover, when we talk about the STEM, now the STEM stands for science, technology, engineering and mathematics. So within STEM also women are lagging behind than male, and this is problem in not only in India but in almost all the countries. We find that women don't come much for the STEM, that is the science, technology, engineering and mathematics. So here we see this particular thing. Fine, men 56% are men and just remaining 44% are women. Okay, so this is something that has been there. Moreover, when we talk about the women teacher compared to male teacher, their proportion is less there as well. For example, there are just 75 women teachers for every 100 male teachers that we have. So women's representation as a student, proportion as a student, women's proportion as a faculty, it has been down. We need to further improve it. Okay, so that is all about this particular important data, etc., that has been there. Fine, but I will not suggest you that you go beyond this scope of data, because what data I have given, these are the most important data points that we can use in the syllabus that has been mentioned in our examination. Okay, then further moving on to the next article. Now the next article is from editorial section and it talks about MGNREGA reforms prioritize the workers and her dues. Okay, now this particular article will take with respect to GS2, GS paper number 2, social justice, GS paper number 2, social justice. Okay, now moreover, within GS paper number 2 there is directly mentioned in your syllabus critical evaluation of government schemes, government policies, government laws. So there also we can take this particular article. Now before moving in this article, let's discuss little bit about the background or basic information about MGNREGA that you need to have in your mind. So when we talk about MGNREGA, it stands for Mahatma Gandhi National Rural Employment Guarantee Act, and MGNREGA aims to provide minimum 100 days of paid employment, for unskilled work, Is it clear or not? Keep it in your mind. Not skilled work, for unskilled work. Moreover, It doesn't focuses on any specific type of households, for example, Dalit households, or for example, below poverty households. No, any household which is willing to get work, they can enroll under MGNREGA. So it is open to all. Only unskilled work is given. And when we talk about the 100 days of employment, it is not per person. It is not per person. Okay, it is per household. It is per household. Okay. Moreover, the different state governments, if they want, they can provide more than 100 days of employment also. For example, at many instances, we have seen that the states have provided employment up to 150 days also. Particularly Odisha have provided it. Okay, so this is MGNREGA. Now, when we talk about MGNREGA, okay, this particular act was passed in order to provide people a right to work. In order to provide people dignified right to work. Is it clear? Now, this particular article is talking about that there are certain problems, there are certain flaws, there are certain limitations in MGNREGA's working. And as these limitations are there in MGNREGA's working, we need to rectify these limitations if MGNREGA has to truly reach its objective, if it has to truly reach its goal. So let's discuss these problems one by one. Let's discuss these problems one by one. Okay. Fine. So first of all, we see this particular thing that when we talk about MGNREGA, MGNREGA is actually underperforming. MGNREGA is underperforming because of its basic design principles have been forgotten, or they are willfully ignored. Now understand this particular thing, guys, that first of all, we see this particular thing that what has happened, regressive spending patterns are there. Regressive spending patterns. Now see this thing. The states which are rich, states which are well off, they are spending more, and the states which are poor, they are spending less. But point is that poorer states need to spend more actually, because in poorer states, many people don't have income security. Many people don't have work security. So they need to spend more. So point is that rich states spending more, poor states spending less, which doesn't make any sense. This is one thing. Secondly, guys, we find this particular issue that basically we also find this particular issue that there are many problems in MGNREGA and state specific solutions are needed. Different state governments had experienced that what they found problem in implementation of MGNREGA. Center government, rather than hearing or taking suggestion from state government, a committee has been constituted. A committee has been constituted at the level of center, and this committee will recommend the reforms. Okay. So what government should have done? Government should have listened to the demand of the workers. Government should have listened to the demand of their collectives, civil societies, state governments, rather than constituting the committee at the central level. It is not going to solve the problem. Then next issue that, guys, further it is coming here is that basically there are a lot of delays in wages dispersal. Fine, workers have worked and they are not getting their wages for months and months. It erodes confidence of worker in MGNREGA scheme as a whole. Supreme Court even had ruled in this particular direction in 2016. Supreme Court in 2016 provided that making people to do work under MGNREGA and not giving their wages on time is equivalent to forced labor. But up till now, no directive, no steps have been given to implement this directive of Supreme Court. So this is a very big problem. The next issue that, guys, come here is that basically there is a need to strengthen the implementation capacity where expenditure is low. Now understand this thing. There are many state government which are not spending too much money in MGNREGA. Now, point is that why they are not spending money? They are not spending because they are not able to implement that particular scheme. So we need to focus that wherever there is a less expenditure, isn't this less expenditure because state government are not able to implement that scheme? So there they need to give support. They are needed to be given assistance. Okay. So this is something that has been happened. Rather, what is happening? Instead of curbing expenditure where employment generation is high. So state government are going with the opposite mindset. Where expenditure is high, they are trying to curb that expenditure. But that is not the correct approach. That is not the correct approach. Rather, where expenditure is low, there you need to focus more. Okay. So this is something that has been a concern. The next issue that, guys, come here is that basically for a universal demand-based social security program such as MGNREGA, reform cannot be based on targeting better. Okay, just now understand this thing. When we talk about MGNREGA, it is open to all. So the focus should be on exclusion error and not inclusion error. Now, what do we mean by exclusion error and inclusion error? Let's understand it, and then we'll see this particular point. So basically, now guys, suppose there are a particular beneficiaries that are meant for a scheme. Okay, suppose these are the beneficiaries which are meant for a scheme. Now, what happened? There are now what has happened? Now, what has happened? The outsider people, they also joined the scheme. Okay, beneficiaries, what happened? Beneficiaries joined the scheme, which were actually meant for the beneficiaries, but outsider also joined the scheme. So what happened? The people who should not have joined, they have joined. The people who should not have joined, they have joined. Now, what is this particular kind of an error? This is an inclusion error. This is an inclusion error. What is exclusion error? Now, suppose the scheme and there are the beneficiaries for whom the scheme was meant, but what is happening? All beneficiaries did not join. All beneficiaries did not join. There are, let's say, some 10-50 people who were not able to join the scheme because they were ignorant, because they did not knew about that particular scheme, because they were not properly educated. So here what has happened? Exclusion error has happened. Okay, there is an exclusion error. Some people got excluded. So when we talk about MGNREGA, what we need to focus, there has to be a focus on exclusion error. Ensure that nobody is excluded. Ensure that nobody is excluded. Every person is included in the scheme. Okay, so this is something that is one issue we need to focus upon. Okay, the next issue that comes here is, guys, that we need to run this program like a demand-based law. Now, point is that what government does, government fixes a particular fund. Let's say we are going to spend 100 crore in MGNREGA. The moment that 100 crore are exhausted, fine, the scheme is stopped. Okay, then government will look if we can get some more fund, and if, let's say, some more fund comes, then again the scheme will be started. So what has happened? The scheme has worked in an intermittent manner. Rather than this particular approach, the scheme has to work in the demand and supply manner. Whatever demand is there, we need to provide such amount of work to the people. Okay, so it should not be based on some strict budget. It should be based on the demand and supply factor. Now, here we see this particular thing, guys, that there was a case study of Bihar. So in Bihar, Kam Mango Abhiyan was launched by Ministry of Rural Development in 2013. Okay, because in MGNREGA there was declining work that was there, and here under Kam Mango Abhiyan, civil society organizations, they were also enrolled. Okay, and what happened? 53,000 workers demanded the work. 53,000 workers demanded work in just one district. In what district? But in one district alone, and receipts were also provided. But the point is that that though work was, it was said that you should demand the work, but what has happened? Funds to honor the demand were not released to the states in time. They were not given the money to give the work to these 53,000 people who enrolled. Now, these things, they erode confidence of people, they erode confidence of worker in the schemes. So therefore, we need to be focused on that particular thing as well. Then next is that any reform in MGNREGA is to be brought. That particular reform in MGNREGA, if it is to be brought, it has to be a participatory reform. It has to be a participatory reform. Public, the workers, civil societies, okay, NGOs, okay, panchayats, everybody should give their suggestion that what we have learned from MGNREGA's implementation experience, and those reforms are needed to be included. So there needs to be a participatory approach that has to be focused. Consultative processes needs to be there. Okay, so this is something that has to be there. Okay, there has to be leveraging of consultative process and forums built into it, such as the state and the central employment guarantee councils. Their assistance can be taken up. The next thing, guys, that has come here is that basically state governments should also be given much more important role in this particular thing. Any change that are to be brought, any reforms, if it has to be brought in MGNREGA, then that reform is to be presented into the state legislative assembly. So the states, civil societies, panchayats, all are to be given an important role here. The next thing that's coming here is that there is a need to map the impact of each of its reform on access to and expenditure of MGNREGA. Now see this particular thing, guys. Here we are going to discuss one important example, that is the National Mobile Monitoring System, NMMS. What is this NMMS? And I will connect this NMMS with this point also just in 1 minute. Now see this thing. What happened? Government recently announced that they will be bringing some digital reforms in MGNREGA. What will do? All the workers' attendance will be uploaded on a digital platform, and for that attendance will be marked through a mobile application, and that mobile application was called as National Mobile Monitoring System. So point is that now guys, earlier what used to happen, when the workers come on a work site for working, their names will be written in a muster roll, their attendance will be marked. Okay, there will be a physical register, that is a muster roll, their attendance will be marked, they will work there, and the number of days they have worked, they will be given wages in this particular direction. Government said that there is a leakage, there is corruption that happens, many of the ghost beneficiaries are taking advantage. So government said that no, whenever you are coming on work site, your photograph will be clicked and that geo-tagged photograph will be uploaded. At least 2 photographs in a day will be clicked at that particular site that yes, actually you have worked. So digital attendance will be marked in this national mobile monitoring software system. Fine, very good thing. Digital reform you came out with, but there are problems. Problem number one, actually the mates. Who is a mate? Mate is a person who's a supervisor. Mate is the person who is a supervisor at a MGNREGA site. Many of now these mates were in charge of uploading this information, but they don't have mobile phone, they don't have a smartphone. How they will do that thing? Second thing is that internet connectivity is a very big problem. Third problem that comes here is that guys, actually workers are not to be paid on basis of attendance, rather they were to be paid on the basis of work that they have done. In MGNREGA there was a lot of flexibility. When we talk about MGNREGA guys, the scheme is very much successful because it has generated a lot of employment. It has generated a lot of employment for the women workers. Now see this thing, women in rural areas, they have to do their domestic works also. Okay, so they cannot come right in the morning at a work site. So how women do? Whenever they have time, they go to work site, they do their work and they come back. So women needed this flexibility, and now this flexibility has been taken back. Why? Because time stamped geotagged photographs are to be clicked. So understand this thing that we brought a digital intervention, but what impact is creating it on the people? Is it creating a positive impact or is it creating a negative impact? Is it making scheme more efficient or is it making scheme less efficient? So there is a need to map the impact of each of its reform on access to and expenditure of MGNREGA. Whether people are able to access scheme more efficiently with your reform or not. Expenditure, whether expenditure has improved or not. This is something that has to be focused upon. Centralization is not needed, should not be focused too much. For example, now under National Mobile Monitoring Software, geotagging of assets, fund management, the processes are being centralized. So this is something which should not be done. Okay, so guys, even we have seen this thing that because of this national mobile monitoring system that came, 3,000 of the women, they are protesting in Muzaffarpur because they find this particular thing that they might be impacted, because if digital connectivity was not there, glitch was not there, their attendance did not got uploaded, even when they have worked, they will negatively be impacted. Okay, now moving on guys in this particular direction. Okay, now revisit the tax, just a minute, revisit the tax treatment of tobacco products. Now this particular article we'll see with respect to GS paper number 2, health. GS paper number 2. Okay. Now basically this particular article is talking about that the taxation on tobacco product happens to be far low, and because the taxation on tobacco products are low, it is leading to two type of problem. Number one, government's revenues are going down. Second, tobacco product, it is a sin product, it is a harmful product, and because pricing is low, because the taxation are low, their pricing is low, and because of that more people can try it, more people can use it, more people can become addicted to it. So therefore, for preserving health of people as well as to enhance the revenues of the government can explore of imposing more and more taxes on tobacco product. Now let's discuss this particular article little bit more in detail. So Adam Smith, find the global renowned economist who wrote the book Wealth of the Nations. He provided this particular thing that there are certain commodities such as sugar, rum, tobacco. Now, these commodities are, according to him, not necessary for life, but they are used regularly and they are widely used. So, these things, as they are consumed widely, they happen to be good candidate for taxation. We need to impose taxations on that particular thing. Now, around the world, we find this particular thing that the countries impose taxes on tobacco, and largely the taxes are imposed on tobacco to regulate the tobacco consumption. Fine, you put more and more taxes, fine, the tobacco products will become expensive. As they will become expensive, first time users, number one, will be deterred. Secondly, as it become expensive, regular consumption will also go down. Now, in this particular capacity, guys, in India, we see this thing that tobacco taxes have not been increased in last so many of the years. So we actually implemented the goods and services tax, GST, and today, guys, the tobacco, they comes in the slab of 28% GST. Though there are certain tobacco products that come at the lower slabs also, we will see all this particular detail in this particular article, but still we need to impose more and more taxes on tobacco. Now see this particular thing. Basically, guys, when we talk about India, India wants to become a $5 trillion economy, needs a lot of economic resources, needs a lot of money for that thing, and a lot of money can be derived from taxes. Here, the taxes on tobacco makes a sense. Now, first of all, when we talk about, guys, the tobacco, let's take the example of cigarettes. So basically, 28% GST is imposed on cigarettes, and then there are the cess and other levies that are imposed on the cigarette. So at the end of the day, if we total see the tax burden on the cigarette, okay, it goes to 50 to 60%, 28% GST, and over that there will be the cess and other levies that will also be imposed. So effective tax on the cigarettes is around 50 to 60%. But WHO recommends that at least 75% tax needs to be there on retail prices of all the tobacco products. But in India, we are charging around 50 to 60%. So the taxes that we are imposing on tobacco, it's less than what has been recommended by WHO. This is something. Now, when we talk about the current GST, guys, it relies on ad valorem system. Ad valorem. What is ad valorem? Ad valorem is that tax which is imposed on the value of a product. Okay, for example, if a product is valued at 100 rupees, so on 100 rupees the tax will be imposed. So ad valorem is on the value of that particular product. So point is that on cigarettes we need to impose ad valorem, that is important, but apart from that, per unit tax also we need to impose on it. Okay, for example, guys, per unit tax is that, suppose I make one pen, you say that okay, I will charge 1 rupee on one pen. Okay, this is per unit tax. You are not concerned about the size of this pen. What I do, I increase the length of this pen, and actually within this pen I am giving you the ink worth of 2 pen. If you are imposing per unit tax, still you will charge 1 rupee only. So therefore, many times what government do, government impose a tax on value. Government impose tax on value. Let's suppose 5 rupee pen, we will impose a 10%. 10 rupee pen will impose 10%. So ad valorem tax. When we talk about GST, GST happens also to be the ad valorem tax. Okay, that is something. Now, the point is that, guys, this is fine, but we also need to impose some additional taxes on the tobacco. Now, see this particular thing. There is a lot of discrepancy within the tobacco products as well. For example, when we talk about, guys, tobacco product, cigarette is one of a tobacco product, and the cigarette constitutes around 15% of tobacco usage. Okay, so when we talk about the tobacco consumers, some of them are consuming cigarettes, some of them are consuming BDs, some of them consuming are smokeless tobacco, gutka, pan masala, etc. So when we talk about the cigarettes account for only 15% of the tobacco users. Okay, but it generates 80% of tobacco taxes. So out of the total tobacco users, 15% are the ones who just use cigarette. It means 85% of tobacco users, they use BDs, they use smokeless tobaccos, they use gutkas, etc. But cigarette, though 15% of the tobacco users are cigarette users, but all the taxes that are coming, 80% are coming from cigarette. What it means in very simple words? In very simple words means that other type of tobacco such as BDs, gutkas and smokeless tobacco, we are not putting a lot of tax burden on that. How? Let's see this data. So basically, guys, if we talk about this, for example, BDs are the only tobacco products without a compensation cess under GST. So basically, above the 28% GST, a compensation cess, an additional cess is imposed. On BDs, there is no cess. Then we talk about, guys, certain smokeless tobacco ingredients, for example, tobacco leaves, tendu leaves, betel leaves, areca nut. Either there is zero GST on that, or they are into the 5 to 18% of GST. So what happens? The GST or the taxes go on here also. So point is that we need to bring all the tobacco products under a flat uniform 28% GST slab. Fine, all products are needed to be brought under 28% GST slab. This is something that is needed. Moreover, we also find this particular thing, guys, that as we talk about the design of GST, GST is not applicable on small businesses where turnover is less than 40 lakh rupees. Now, this provision is good. It was brought to protect the small business owners from GST compliances. So, if your turnover is less than 40 lakh rupees, GST compliances will not be imposed on you. Good thing. But point is that, now this is to protect small businesses. This is to protect the small businesses. But many of the smokeless tobacco and BD manufacturers, okay, they operate in informal sector. They operate in informal sector and they report a turnover of less than 40 lakh rupees. And these manufacturers are, as on them the GST is often not being imposed. What happens? Their products are not properly taxed. So this is something that has been provided. It has been provided that GST compliances are to be increased. GST compliances are to be increased on tobacco products. And if that particular thing will happen, two problems will be solved. Number one, government will get more revenue collection. And number two, these products will become expensive. And as they will become expensive, public health will also be taken care of. Now, after GST reforms, the states can see, after this GST reforms comes, state no longer can raise taxes on tobacco, which hinders their ability to raise the revenues. Okay, so state today don't have any power to raise money through imposing more and more taxations on the tobacco products, particularly, for example, the sales tax. Okay, so this has reduced a lot of this has brought a lot of problems. So we need to rethink the taxation structure. So that is all about this particular article, guys. And now, before moving on, let's take whatever your doubts are, and then we'll move to next article. Okay. Fine. So here, sir, when women won't be getting what's sir, when women won't be getting gallantry awards, sir, then when women won't be. Karthi, please again write your comment. I'm not able to understand what you are saying. सर मेरा नाम रौनक है, मैं इसकी प्रिपरेशन करना चाहता हूँ, नहीं मिल पाता. Okay, Ronak, you can message me on Telegram. Preeti, sir, please explain leprosy. Preeti, what is a leprosy? Leprosy is basically it is a disease. It is a kind of an infection. It is a kind of an infection which is caused by a bacteria, Mycobacterium leprae. It infects skin. Okay, so on skins there will be the lumps, etc. that will be caused. It is an infectious disease. Fine. The daily class कब होती है? It's around 7:30 AM. Okay, sir, what's the purpose of creamy layer? Then I'm getting confused. Should I relate this new concept with creamy layer? Creamy layer is a different concept. Okay, certain categories of OBs, they don't get reservation. They don't get reservation. So those OBCs which don't get reservation, there are certain criterias. Okay, for example, if you are coming in, if the income of your parents is above a particular income slab, if your parents are professionals, then the creamy layer concept will be applied, and then you will not get the. Just a minute. Yes, then you will not get the reservation if you are a creamy layer. Sir, in my place, MGNREGA worker beneficiary are contributing fund for machines to work done so they can avail fund from government in name of bills. Okay. If the taxes on tobacco increase, people start to reduce its usage. Won't it again affect the economy? Okay. See, point is that if people reduce their consumption, good. And even if that affects the economy, not at all a problem. We cannot make money on the cost of the health of people. Okay, you need to understand that argument also. Everything cannot just be talked. Now, everything cannot just be placed on the economy, that okay, if people are getting sick by consuming cigarettes, but we should give them more cigarettes, we should do that. No, that should not be there. How's your health? My health is good, Anand. Thank you for asking. Now, moving to next article. Okay, so this article, the Indian university is in a free fall. The Indian university is in a free fall. Okay, so this particular article, guys, we'll see with respect to GS paper number 2, education. GS paper number 2, issues related to education. Now, so basically, first of all, before going in this particular article, guys, let's take little bit of a background information. If you're following newspaper analysis regularly, you might be knowing it also. We have seen that few days back, what has happened? Few days back, the UGC, University Grants Commission, have released guidelines for foreign universities so that they can open their campus in India. Now, new education policy 2020 talked about internationalization of higher education. And as the part of internationalization of higher education, institutions such as the MIT, Stanford, etc., they will be able to open their campuses. Students will come, they will enroll in these courses. Okay. So, India will become the global education hub. Fine. Now, the article is talking about this thing that we have published this particular draft. We have published this particular draft where foreign universities will come. Now, this particular initiative can make India a new global education destination. Good. But there are some criticisms, some problems also that will come because of this particular point. So, this particular article is actually providing a critique of recent decision of UGC, where UGC allowed the entries of the foreign institutions. What it provides? Now, the article is saying this particular thing, that India is the third largest economy, is of no value when it has miserably failed to give its citizen the world-class university system. The point is that rather than scaling our own premier institutions such as ITs, rather than increasing the condition of our own institutions, we are bringing institutions from outside. So what is the advantage of Indian economy when we have not been able to provide even the basic education, fine, by our own institutions? It has been provided that we saw this thing that education budgetary education, the budget which is going towards education, higher education, it has always been very much less. Because of that, our institutions are not able to innovate, our institutions are not able to provide state of the art quality of education. And now what government is doing? Government is to shrug its responsibility, now is bringing foreign institutions. Now understand this thing, that when these foreign institutions will come in India, there will be no bar on them that you can charge only this much fees. Whatever fees they want, they can charge that particular thing. There is good not be any limitation on that. So point is that we are not focusing on core fundamental issues. Okay, next thing is that basically it has also been provided that one issue is that basically the point that is often blatantly overlooked by government is the crucial importance of an academic environment with the understanding of new pedagogical practices. Okay, so we are not giving autonomy, we are not giving new avenues for these institutions that they can experiment, can improve their qualities. Now see this thing, when we talk about universities, there are the structural problem in our universities. Our universities are rigid, they are unresponsive. Okay, often they are not able to adopt to new changes that are coming. See, even still, if you have done your engineering, you might find this thing that you are being taught the concepts which were being taught in 1990s. So basics will not change, but obviously many of the technological advancements that have come, they are not being given. Because of that thing, the graduates, fine, which are graduating from our universities, many number of times, they are not employable. So point is that our universities, they have been rigid, they have not brought adequate changes in structure, curriculum, they have been unresponsive. Many number of times within universities, we see this particular thing, that the spouses of civil servants, they are finding a kind of an easy entry in university position. Okay, so the civil servants or retired bureaucrats, they are finding their position in universities, higher educations, even though they don't have any interest, they don't have any expertise in education. Fine, we also see this particular thing, guys, that there is a free fall of universities in the hand of such teachers. Okay, so many number of times we see this particular thing that the incompetent teachers, because only they have connections, they are getting entry in universities and they are not bringing any innovation, any change there. There are procedural irregularities. Okay, so these are all the issues that we have. Okay, leadership is not there, politicization has happened. Moreover, selection committees for selecting new teachers, faculties, okay, they are constituted by university heads. It finds the same faculty members. Okay, the same faculty members, they are just placed as experts. Okay, and they are choosing other faculties and all such kind of things, and because of that, subpar talent is coming in our institutions. Okay, so point is that what we need to focus upon, we need to focus that our own institutions are strengthened, give them funding, give them autonomy, give them decision making power, bring more competent teachers, politicization that has happened in university, remove them, then only our institutions will be able to provide good education. So rather bringing foreign educational institutions, we need to bring on the structural problems. Article also say this particular thing, that if you bring the foreign institutions, what happened, outstanding teacher may seek positions in the foreign universities, they will give them good packages. The point is that now obviously these foreign educational institutions will offer the courses at a premium fees, how the poor students who are studying in the education institution of India, they will be able to access the services of such good teachers. So this is certain issues that have come in this particular direction. So therefore we need to focus on core fundamentals first. Okay, this is something that has been there. Now moving to next article, dementia, the nature of the disease, how it progresses and the ways you can help others. Now first of all guys, as we talk about this, it is a new section that has been started by the Hindu, that is the pulse. Okay, now when we talk about this as a pulse check, okay, so this new section has been started by Hindu by the name of pulse check. Okay, so here they are going to talk about some of the disease, basic reasons about that particular disease, etc. Now understand this thing, you are not required to go too much in detail about in this particular thing, because we are not preparing for medical sciences, we are preparing for UPSC. So you need to understand that only the relevant substance from the article is to be taken, on which the questions in our GS paper number 3, science and technology, or GS paper number 2, health can come. Okay, now moving on in the dementia. So basically, first of all guys, when we talk about the dementia, what dementia is? So dementia is a cognitive disease, it is a mental cognitive illness, and some of the symptoms of dementia are absent-mindedness. Now this is the early stages. So early stages will be absent-mindedness, difficulty in recalling the names, difficulty in recalling words, difficulty in retaining new information. Now one thing I want to say, many of you will resonate, you say that okay, I am having this, but no, that's not the case. You might resonate that okay, I am absent-minded, I am also often find difficulty in recalling words, I can't recall the articles of the constitution, but no, that's simply the lack of revisions. It's simply the lack of revisions. Okay, so usually what happens, whenever we are reading symptom of any disease either on Google, we connect that okay, this disease is I am suffering with it, but no, that's not the case. Okay, so early stages are this: disorientation in unfamiliar surroundings, reduced social engagements. Then often what happens, there are the atypical symptoms: impairment in recognizing the visually presented objects. You cannot recognize, you cannot differentiate between the different objects. Later what happened, then there will be the some experience word finding difficulties. Okay, now as this particular disease will progress, then what will happen? There will be memory loss that will start. Loss of other cognitive skills. You cannot do basic maths, you cannot read basic things, so that will be there. Reduced vocabulary, less complex speech patterns. Okay, mood swings, apathy, decline in social skills. And later words guys, what will happen? A person will lose entire control on the things that are operated by brain. Even there will be the problem in performing the day-to-day activities. Okay, day-to-day activities, they might also not be able to perform that. So this is the dementia. Now when we talk about the dementia, so basically dementia, fine, now it is caused by many of the, sometimes it could be caused by the disease of brain or injuries to the brain, which is there. 47.5 million people, they have dementia, and fine, this number will increase to approximately 135.5 million by 2050. And within India there are around 5 million people, who have dementia. Okay, now as we talk about the dementia, there are prevention programs. If you focus on that, the dementia can be stopped. Okay, or dementia basically the people can be safe from the dementia. So we need to focus on lifestyle basically. Yes, now as we talk about the dementia, So lifestyle risk factors, mental well-being. If you don't take good care of your mental well-being, if you don't focus on healthy lifestyle, there is more possibility that a person can be infected, can suffer with dementia. Now, according to the studies, it has been found that the people who are having cardiovascular diseases, these people are more prone to develop dementia in the later stages. We find this particular thing that there is a strong relationship between midlife hypertension and dementia in later stages. So if you worry a lot, if you have a hypertension in your midlife, it will lead to dementia in the later phases of life. If people who smoke, find they have 50% higher risk of developing dementia compared to the people who don't smoke. Now, regular exercise can help offsetting the cardiovascular health, can improve your cardiovascular health, and if cardiovascular health improves, we see this particular thing that the chances of dementia also goes down. Fine. It also regular exercises improves your cerebral perfusion, synaptic function is it keeps your basically mental health in good shape. Okay, so basically the synaptic connections, they become more strong. Okay, your neural health stays better if you do the regular workout. Okay, so what happens, it also stimulates the growth of new brain cells in the hippocampus. Okay, so this is something. Moreover, it has also been found, this particular thing, that higher educational and occupation attainment. Okay, if you read, if you acquire education, if you are in learning, reading and such kind of a things, it keeps you away from dementia. Why? Because if you are in education, if you are in some learning or where you are using your cognitive skills, it protects against developing dementia later in life. Why? Because long period of learning stimulates the development of larger and more complex neural networks. So as you learn more, your neural complex becomes, they are used more. Okay, fine. Your more complex neural networks are made. Fine. It lets in the stimulation of brain. Fine. So this is about the dementia. Okay, so these are the basic concepts that have been provided in this particular article. Beyond this, you are not required to go in this article, and apart from this, nothing is important also here. So that is all about this particular article, guys. Then now moving to next article. Lessons from Ukraine war. Lessons from Ukraine war. Unmanned aerial vehicles, missiles are likely future threats. Now this particular article will see with respect to the GS paper number 2 and GS paper number 3, national security. National security. Okay, moving on. So yes. Now guys, as we talk about the lessons that we have taken from ongoing Russia-Ukraine war, lessons we have taken from ongoing Russia-Ukraine war. So what are the important lessons? So this article is talking about these important lessons. Number one, we find this particular thing that the missiles, unmanned aerial vehicles, they are the major future threat. So missiles that are being fired by an adversary nation from their own country and it is landing on the targets in your own country. So these missiles, unmanned aerial vehicles, they are the future threats. So what we need to do? We need to develop the strategies which can neutralize these missiles, unmanned aerial vehicles. Okay. So this needs to be, we need a mitigation strategy as a part of integrated air defense. So in air defense, we need to develop neutralizing capabilities. Okay. Fine. This is something that we have learned from the Russia-Ukraine war that is going on. The next thing that we have learned from Russia-Ukraine war is that for ground-based air defenses, the most important aspect is the survivability against suppression. So when we have ground-based target, for example, there is a stationary missile or there is a stationary facility, military facility, which is launching attacks on the adversarial nation. The point is that how they will survive when there is an attack from other country by the missiles attacks or by the air blastings, these permanent settlements that are there, okay, they might not be able to survive. So ground-based air defense might not be able to survive. So what we need to have? We need to have a mobile air defense. We need to have airborne air defense. Okay, fine. So the important aspect is survivability against suppression and destruction of air defenses operation by the adversary nation. Okay, this is something that we need to do. Deconfliction of air defense missiles with interceptors, fine, is needed. Okay, how you will neutralize the missiles, that is something that is needed. The next thing that comes here is that basically now the government is trying to induct government is trying to induct many of such missiles and weaponaries which will enhance the India's capacity to neutralize missiles, unmanned aerial vehicles, as well as in the event of war will be helpful for our army. So, or our defense forces. So we see this thing that recently Defense Acquisition Council, fine, it has approved for the procurement of very short range air defense system, missile system. Okay, that is the Vishorad infrared homing. These are the very short range air defense systems which we are procuring. That is something. Then we are also procuring the Akash surface to air missiles. Okay, so this is something that we are doing. Moreover, with the other countries such as the Israel also, fine, we have entered the production of the missiles and missiles which can help in neutralizing the adversary nations, missiles which can help in neutralizing the unmanned aerial vehicles. Okay, so this is something that we need to focus more and more upon. Now moving to next article. Shortfall of specialist doctors in rural areas was 80% in 2022. So basically guys, what has happened here, we take the data from rural health statistics. Rural health statistics data has been taken, and on the basis of rural health statistics, they say that there is a shortfall of the specialist doctors, particularly in the rural areas. Okay, now point is that guys, here just one data we are going to take from this article, which you can use in your GS health related answers. So basically, according to rural health statistics, it has been provided that now in 2021, if 2021 we see, there was around 79.5% shortage, 79.5% shortage of all the types of specialist doctors. And when we talk about 2022, in 2022, it's around 70%. It's around 69.7%. Okay, 70%, 70%. So point is that when we talk about the shortages of the specialist doctors, it is in the range of 70 to 80%. Now here, pediatricians 79.8%, physicians 79.6%, obstetricians, gynecologists 65.1%, surgeons 74.9%. So when we talk about the doctors, we find this thing that overall around 70 to 80% shortages of specialized doctors are there. Now here they have given data about the different parts of the country, different states, etc. You don't need to remember that hairline data. Neither it's needed in exam nor you will be able to remember. So therefore, just these broad data you can remember. Okay. So point is that guys, when we talk about the specialist, when we talk about the specialist doctors, 70% to 80% shortage. Okay, it is an alarming thing. It is an alarming. Okay, so what government needs to focus on? Government needs to ensure that adequate funding, adequate incentives are being provided to the doctors so that they are posted in rural areas, they serve in rural areas. Okay, then we have this one small article. RTI portal bars new accounts users to fill data for every form. RTI portals bar new accounts users to fill data for every form. Now see this particular thing. Now guys, there is the RTI, Right to Information Act. Under Right to Information Act, a citizen can ask information from public information officers from all the public authorities, So public authorities, you can ask the information from them using the Right to Information, RTI. Now point is that guys, whenever you go to take some information and you apply from information, let's say on RTI portal. Now, earlier there was a facility that you can make your account. In that account, your mobile number, your date of birth, your credentials, your mobile number, your age, whatever information they need, it will be stored in that account. Now, that particular thing helps. How that particular thing helps? Every time you need to seek information, you don't need to fill your basic information. Just you will ask the information that from which department you need information, from which ministry you need information. You will fill that and you will get it. What it is helping? It is helping in ease of information access. It is helping in ease of information access. It is helping in ease of information access. Very good thing. Now what government has said? Government had said that it is putting burden on the server. And because it is putting burden on the server, now will not allow new accounts. And all accounts that are there, they will also be deleted. If every time if you need 10 RTIs, every time you need to fill new forms, 10 new forms are to be filled if you need 10 informations from the scratch. Now, point is that it will discourage many of the people, because many times the people are too busy, many times people are too lazy to do these things. So this is something that is going to be concerning, but government justified it. They said that to improve better experience, we are doing it because it is causing a lot of burden. Okay, so that is all. But however, guys, now obviously a full length question will not come on this development. But point is that these are the factors which should not be the case. We need to improve the convenience. We need to make it more easy. Fine. Now, moving to the mains practice question for today. Today's mains practice question, it says MGNREGA is underperforming because its most basic design principles have been forgotten or willfully ignored. Analyze. So this is going to be a GS paper number 2, 15 marker question. Please try to write it, and where to submit your answers. So guys, if you go to our main channel, that is Thinking Pilot by Sahil Telegram channel, so there is a pinned comment. On the pinned comment, we have given a peer reviewed channel link. What is this peer reviewed channel? You can upload your answers there. The other fellow aspirants usually give reviews there. You can read their answers and you will get a direction that what should be focus area. So that is all, guys, about this. Fine. And with this, we come to an end to the today's newspaper analysis. So guys, any doubt here? Strategy for prelims. There is only one strategy for prelims: revise and revise more. Please don't read new text, revise more. There is urgent need for improvement of standard of school education at first. So can we say that the government shall focus on standardizing? See, both things will go side by side. It's not like that for 15 years you will focus on school. Then what will happen all about the people who are already past their school? So both the things need to go side by side. Sir, can you drop the video soon? Dear, what do you mean by dropping the video soon? Okay, so good facts, Sai. Okay, guys, so that is all about it. Guys, I hope that you have understood it. So that's all about the today, guys, and thank you so much for liking the video. And guys, thank you so much to everyone who leave your comments. Find your comments are very important to us. It helps us in motivating, and it actually drives us to bring more and more quality content. So thank you so much for your comments, guys, and please do commenting. Thank you so much. Now we'll meet tomorrow. Please take care.